The Simpsons. Remember that show? Hit it. What's up, everybody? Welcome back. Jeff Pilkington, Launch TV. We are going to be talking about the Mandela Effect and the Simpsons today. But there's something very important about the Simpsons that you all have to understand. Now, what's important about the Simpsons is it ties into the Mandela Effect, but it ties into the Mandela Effect in a way that people might not possibly understand why it's tying in that way. And let me explain. There's a lot of Simpsons videos kind of all over the internet and how they tie to the Mandela Effect and how, somehow they're predicting the future and they're showing us, Mandela effects before they happen and, kind of all these strange myths about the Simpsons and how it all ties in and ties together. Well, there's a lens here that people are everybody's looking through the same lens, and there's a different lens, at least in regards to the Simpsons and the Mandela Effect. I don't know about the Simpsons and time travel and all that stuff yet, like how they're predicting the future. That's not what this video is about. It's about the Simpsons and the Mandela Effect. And there's a lens with the Simpsons and the Mandela Effect where if you look through it, it'll all make sense very quickly what's happening. But most people can't look through that lens. They don't get to it very quickly. And I'm here today to try to help you look through that lens. So the best thing that I can say is before you start watching this video, try to come in with a clear mind, with no preconceived notions about Mandela Effect, where it comes from, anything. Like, pretend it's day one. You've just arrived here, you know nothing about this, and you want to get clarity on it. That's the best way I can describe to you how to kind of see these things, to try to look through this lens to see it clearly. Now, a couple of months ago, I did a video about Jim Carrey and how Jim Carrey ties to the Mandela Effect. And a lot of people loved it, a lot of people went crazy, a lot of people had all sorts of opinions. Now, Jim Carrey, the biggest thing I was illustrating there is Jim Carrey and false memories. Now, I'm not saying 100% that what causes the Mandela Effect is false memories. I don't know what causes it. That's what I think is the most likely, but it could be parallel universes. It could be multiverse. It could be time travel. It could be an array of things that are unexplainable that we don't know why. So I'm open to all of those things. It is definitely a phenomenon that I'm fascinated by, as everybody else is fascinated by it. So I want to clarify that first. Now, within the realm of false memories, I want to talk about something today. And it's just as fascinating to see this and recognize it in yourself and recognize it in other people. And when you start doing it, all of a sudden, a lot of things in the world become more clear about what's happening in the world. Just things on a bigger scale become more clear. Because in the false memory realm, I believe false memories, and I said this in a prediction video. If you check out my prediction video, I'll put a card up there, where I talk about literally what I believe are false memories and how society has misinterpreted a lot because of false memories, because of our memories. And if we can understand the Mandela Effect better in this false memory frame, it could kind of lead to an awakening for a lot of people. It's the road to a better world. Because I believe we see the Mandela Effect, to me, is what's happening on a grander scale, but the Mandela Effect is it at a very elementary level. And I think Jim Carrey illustrated that within our memory, what we remember Jim Carrey saying, and I think The Simpsons does too. And so this is kind of a continuation of Jim Carrey, but it's in regards to The Simpsons. And a lot of these have been shown to you before, but not through this lens. So let's look at them in regards to false memories, and let me see I'm very curious in the comments what you guys say as far as who will see what I'm saying and who won't. Like, let's talk about this, because it's very important, I think, on a grander scale of society, false memories are. So let's look at a few of these. And the first one I want to look at is, I want to look at Henry VIII. Let's look at Henry VIII. Now, I did a video a couple weeks ago about Henry VIII, and people remember Henry VIII having a chicken leg in the painting. They remember Henry VIII having a chicken leg in that painting. Now, if you look at a clip of The Simpsons, let's go ahead and look at Homer imitating Henry VIII and having a chicken leg. Let's go to that clip.
Your Majesty, I know you want a son, but must we discuss my womb in front of the entire court?
Okay, now Homer had a chicken leg as Henry VIII, okay? That is a Mandela Effect. Now the reason that we think, this is a hypothesis, the reason that we remember Henry VIII having a chicken leg now is because we are remembering Homer having a chicken leg, okay? Now, before you go crazy, I know everybody's like, no, what? This is just a hypothesis. Our memories are flawed. We have flawed memories. We conflate things. Our memory records things. It records things in our subconscious that we aren't even aware of. All of us, me, you, Joe Blow, everybody has memories. It conflates, it mixes up, it confuses it. So that memory of Homer, now when we see Henry VIII painting, we think of Homer with the chicken leg. So it's not that The Simpsons is showing us these Mandela effects. It's that our brains are actually remembering The Simpsons instead of the actual painting. Those memories are getting conflated. You understand? Getting conflated. And false memories are a real thing. It's been proven. Now, if you don't like that, which I suspect a lot of you don't, I can't help you there, but I'm sitting here saying my memory is conflated. Everybody's memory does this. All of our memories conflate. Everybody. It's been proven. So we might be remembering Homer with the chicken leg rather than the actual painting because The Simpsons made fun of it. Like Jim Carrey makes fun of it. It's the same thing. Jim Carrey, The Simpsons. It's tied to all the same. But it's ultimately our memories. And it's not just with this silly elementary stuff like movie lines and stuff. It's at a big level. It's at a politics level. It's at a world-changing level. You understand? So let's go to another one. Let's look at, those of you who don't already think that I've gone off the deep end, which I'm sure is a lot of you. Let's look at Snow White, okay? What do we remember? I've talked about this one as well in my videos, okay? Snow White. We remember the mirror, mirror on the wall, all right? Let's cue Homer and see what Homer said. Go to Homer.
Diamonds! I still can't believe he gave me diamonds!
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the baldest of them all?
Okay, so Homer is saying mirror, mirror on the wall. That's what we remember. Then we go back, and Homer was watching. They were making, they were kind of doing their own little spoof like Jim Carrey, but the lines were a little different from the original. But then we go back to the Disney one, and what does she say in the Disney one? Go ahead.
Magic mirror on the wall, who is the fairest one of all?
Magic mirror on the wall. But guess what? Our memory, even though we aren't consciously aware of it, okay? We aren't consciously aware of it. It's not like something, our memory conflates Homer and what actually happened. We have a recording in our subconscious of him going mirror, mirror on the wall in front of the, and that confuses our memory. Now you could say, oh, I'm smarter than that. My memory's better. I'm smarter. You can say that all day long, but I think it's pretty clear that Simpsons was a big part of our subculture. It's a huge cultural show that we all remembered. And when Homer did it, it became memes, it became all over the internet. So if you didn't watch The Simpsons, which you can say, that meme was still created and it was still out there and it was put into the collective consciousness of everybody. Everywhere, mirror, 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 mirror. When you see that and hear that, your memory records that. So you think that the original had it that way, when it wasn't. It was just the damn Simpsons. Just like Jim Carrey and his spoofs. We're remembering Jim Carrey and the Simpsons, okay? Let's go to another one. We Are the Champions of the World, Queen. Okay, now I've been talked about how it has no ending. There's no ending to the, basically what's happened is people remember the chorus of Queen of the world. They remember we are the champions of the world, like a big finish at the end. Well, let's listen to Homer's version of it. Go to Homer.
I am the champion, I am the champion, no time for losers, 'cause I am the champion of the world.
So Homer says of the world. He says like he's doing that. He's saying of the world. Again, we're remembering Homer saying of the world because everybody watched, and it's just like the mirror mirror thing. While really the original song didn't have that. It's just Homer said it and we remember Homer of the world, and so that got entered into the consciousness. Now, Queen might have done some performances where they do the big blast at the end of the world. Like, that's completely possible. But for those of us, we're conflating of the world and thinking that's in the memory because we heard Homer say it, because maybe they did it a couple times, you know, and so that goes into the false memories as well. So see, let's go to another one. Wizard of Oz. Now, in the original, all the witch said was, when she's letting the evil witch, she's like letting the monkeys fly, and she goes, fly, fly, fly. But people don't remember that. People remember it as fly, my pretties, fly. Fly, my pretties, fly. Like, fly, my pretties, fly. Now, let's watch the witch first. Let's go to the original Wizard of Oz, the clip of the witch.
Now fly! Fly!
Okay, fly, fly, fly. Now let's go to the Simpsons version where Mr. Burns lets the monkeys go, and let's hear what he says.
Fly, my pretties, fly! Continue the research.
Fly, my pretties, fly. So guess what? When we heard Fly My Pretties Fly, that was entered into the collective consciousness. People remembered it. People who watched The Simpsons, it became memes, it became... And we started to think that that was what was actually in The Wizard of Oz. When it was never in The Wizard of Oz. It was just the silly Simpsons. And us silly humans, with our bad memories and our evolutionary trail, are just... We've got a ways to go. So, I have a feeling it was The Simpsons. Okay, Dolly. Now... Remember Dolly having braces in Moonraker? There's this character Dolly, and she was with Metal Mouth, and people remember her smiling at the end and there being braces. But she didn't actually have braces, so that's Mandela Effect. Now, if you look at The Simpsons, there's some scenes with a lot of braces, with smiles, and you see it kind of straight up. When you see those smiles, those cartoon photos, and that in history, that gets recorded in your collective subconscious. That gets recorded in there, and it's put down below, and like, remember, so all of that is recorded. And so when you then see a place where there's not braces, where you think there might supposed to be braces, where it's like, where did those go? Those memories are there, they're in there, they're being conflated. And without you consciously knowing, that can happen and conflate the memory of what actually happened. So even Moonraker, like, that's quite possible. Let's talk about Star Wars, okay? People remember Star Wars. They remember the original, when Darth Vader at the end, what did he say? What did Darth Vader say to Luke? Now, the big scene in Star Wars where Darth Vader is talking to Luke, we all have these memories. We have this distinct memory of Darth Vader when he's revealing the father secret, of him saying, Luke, I am your father. But that's not what he said. He actually said, no, I am your father. But lots of people remember it being Luke, I am your father. Now, if you go to the Simpsons version of Darth Vader, and you watch it compared to the original, let's take a look at both. Let's look at Star Wars first. Let's go to Star Wars.
He told me you killed him. No, I am your father.
There it is. No, I am your father. No, I am your father. Now, if you look at The Simpsons, let's look at Darth Vader and The Simpsons.
Luke, I am your father.
Luke, I am your father. We're remembering The Simpsons. It's the same thing, conflated again. Okay? Anyway, C-3PO. Let's look at The Simpsons C-3PO. In The Simpsons, guess what? Yep, he didn't have a silver leg. But in Star Wars, C-3PO did have a silver leg. So people remember, we look back and we remember, we think, gosh, I don't remember him having a silver leg. Because in Star Wars now he has a silver leg. But if you look in The Simpsons, he didn't have a silver leg. So that transcription of him in all gold with no silver leg in The Simpsons gets recorded in our memory. And it gets recorded in the collective consciousness. It gets on Google. It's all over, of him not having a silver leg. And it replaces what actually happened, which was he did have a silver leg. So we're conflating C-3PO in The Simpsons with the silver leg non-Simpsons. Interesting. A few more of them. So in The Simpsons, Marge Simpson actually said in a clip, life is like a box of chocolates. Listen to her.
Mom, it's lame to be proud of being lame. Well, life is like a box of chocolates. Mom, no.
Okay, so she's saying life is like a box of chocolates, but Forrest Gump said life was like a box of chocolates, if you watch the clip.
My mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Okay, so people are remembering, when they remember life is like a box of chocolates, they remember Marge Simpson, because that's how she said it in the episode, and they're conflating that with what he actually said, which was life was like a box of chocolates. That memory's becoming conflated. So that's another Simpsons one that we're confusing, and it's easily getting conflated. There's so many of these. Another one is, so growing up, I had a Simpsons book, and in it, it had a photo of Simpson's anatomy, and it had the heart off to the left, and it had Marge's heart off to the left as well, both Homer and Marge. The heart was shown in the left, but we've learned the heart's actually in the middle. We know the heart's in the middle, but it would make sense that I have a memory of the heart being on the left side because I saw in my Simpsons fun book it on the left, and that was put into the public consciousness. It's on Google. There's all this history of it being on the left, so people, because of these mistakes, conflate their memory, and they remember the human anatomy that way. So the Simpsons played a big role in this. Like this, it really played in. What else? Mona Lisa. Lisa Simpson did the Mona Lisa, and she was really serious. So now people wonder why the Mona Lisa is smiling. Well, the Mona Lisa has always been smiling. They're just remembering serious Lisa Simpson, who never smiled. Lisa Simpson was really serious. So they're conflating Mona Lisa Simpson, with Mona Lisa. It's being conflated. It's being confused. Very, very important. Easily to conflate. What else do we got? Berenstein Bears. I mean, they used it correctly in The Simpsons, actually. They had Berenstein, which is what it was, but people remember Berenstein now. Well, the Berenstein theme song, listen to them singing. The Berenstein Bears, listen to them singing.
We are the Berenstein Bears.
Mama!
Papa!
Sister! Brother!
We appreciate each other.
Okay, so that becomes conflated because the auditory. Berenstein, we're remembering things, our memory is flawed. Let's see, what else do we got? Apollo 13 is another one where there's a lot of confusion because people remember Houston, you have a problem versus Houston, we have a problem. Now, what's happening here is similar to like The Simpsons, is that Houston, we have a problem is what Tom Hanks actually said in the movie. Houston, we have a problem. That's what he said. Here's the clip.
This is Houston. Say again, please.
Houston, we have a problem.
However, why do we have this memory of him saying, Houston, you have a problem? Houston, you have a problem. The reason we have that memory is because of the movie Armageddon, where Bruce Willis says, Houston, you have a problem. And then he starts talking about his daughter. Let's look at that clip.
Houston, do you copy?
Go ahead, Frida. Houston, you have a problem.
Okay? So we're conflating, not just in The Simpsons. We're conflating in pop culture. We're conflating in politics. This is happening everywhere, and it changes the world, and it makes us fight, and it makes us all disagree with each other and want to just... It causes all sorts of problems, this conflation of memory. And when we all start admitting that our memory is flawed, we're going to progress as humans. And the Mandela Effect is showing that to us at a very elementary level, which is important because it's easier to see at the elementary level than it is on the bigger things. World-changing stuff, you guys. Very important. JFK, the JFK assassination, okay? People remember 4 people in the car instead of 6. Well, guess what? In The Simpsons, there were only 4 people in the car.
If you'll excuse me. You hit him high, I'll hit him low.
So, while in real life, there was actually 6 people. So people are like, gosh, I remember there only being 4 people in that car. How are there 6? I'm so sure there were 4. Well, it was probably because you watched The Simpsons, or you saw photographs of it on The Simpsons, or so you heard somebody talk about it. And your memory, even if you didn't watch The Simpsons, recorded it, because it was out there in that way, and your memory subconsciously conflates and records. So people are remembering the 4 people in this great Simpsons episode being in the car instead of the actual 6 people, which is what really happened. Confusion. Okay, Crocodile Dundee. People remember, now what he actually said is, that's not a knife, that's a knife. That's not what people remember. People remember him saying, you call that a knife? This is a knife. Okay, so the lines are different than what people remember. Now, if you watch it in The Simpsons, it perfectly matches what you remember. Let's look at a clip of what Crocodile Dundee said.
That's not a knife. That's a knife.
Now let's look at a clip of what Simpsons version of Crocodile Dundee said.
You call that a knife? This is a knife.
You call that a knife? This is a knife. Understand what's happening there? It's because you're remembering The Simpsons instead of what the actual line was. The Simpsons became more entered into, it was more fresh, it was newer. Your memory remembers the replacement. It's a false memory instead of what he actually said. So the Simpsons are giving us these false memories, okay? The Lindbergh Baby. People remember it not being found. However, the child was actually found. It disappeared. Now, Grandpa in The Simpsons actually said, it was never found. I am the Lindbergh Baby. He kind of made like a joke, like it was never found. I am the Lindbergh Baby. People remember Grandpa. It was like a funny moment. It was never found. I am the Lindbergh Baby. And their subconscious actually records. It was never found. They have this memory of it never being found. It's because Grandpa on The Simpsons put that false memory into your consciousness, which put it into your subconsciousness. So this happens all the time. It's not just The Simpsons, it happens everywhere. So we all need to understand that this is becoming conflated. Sex in the City, it's Sex and the City, but people remember Sex in the City. In The Simpsons, if you listen to the audio, let's go to it.
My recipe's infused with Times Square, the Bronx Zoo, and the Sex in the City walking tour.
Sex in the City. So you're hearing Sex in the City, sex in, and that's getting recorded when it was always Sex and the City. Because you hear these in other places, it conflates the memory. This can apply everywhere. This can even apply in geography. I mean, there's a clip, if you look at the photo of this, where in The Simpsons, if you look at Australia, okay, New Zealand was in the upper right in The Simpsons, or it was gone in some in The Simpsons. So we see these visuals where cartoons got it right or wrong in the 90s. We see it all over the place, and our memory records that. And so we're remembering different things that are subconsciously recorded. And that's what's happening. And when we all admit that flaw, it's gonna make things easier on all of us. The memory is flawed. False memories are everywhere in our existence, okay? Geography, anatomy, movie lines, everything. False memories are everywhere. Not just at that level either. In politics, in the world. This is really important. So that is the long list of Mandela effects that I wanted to share with you today. And a lot of those you've already seen, you've heard of, but you hadn't seen them in this context, I think, and you had not seen them with that lens. Now, I'm not saying, you guys, before I get killed, I'm not saying that this is what actually happened. I'm not saying this is the cause of it, but I'm saying that it's a good hypothesis that conflation of memories and false memories, which are proven in science, in psychology, in philosophy to be true and be very exist. You know what the problem is? You know why we're confused about them though? It's because before technology, we literally did not have proof of if our memory was correct or not. But now, since we've got technology, we've got texts, we've got emails, we've got all of that, that technology proves how bad our memories are. Before time, 50 years ago, we didn't have a way to prove false memories right or wrong. We had no way. If there's disagreement, somebody would just say, whatever, and storm off. But now that it's recorded, and we've had television, and we've had film, and we've had computers for 30, 40, 50, 60 years, we have public ledger where we can look back and we can realize in texts and in emails how often our memory confuses things. So that's the case for why these are false memories. And I hope that you guys like this video. Please be sure to comment below. Jeff Pilkington, Launch Industries. Everyone have a wonderful day, and I will see you later.